secretive organization known as Anonymous, a loose-knit group of computer hackers who came to the defense of WikiLeaks and got the attention of law enforcement in the process. They are young and stealthy, and they are potential giant killers.
Anonymous hacker activists have basically got together and are exacting revenge for what they see as attacks on WikiLeaks, and they're targeting a number of corporations that have cut off their ties with WikiLeaks.
So they see themselves as protesters. Essentially that the government can't prevent you or I from talking openly. They interpret it much more broadly. They believe that everybody has an inalienable right to say whatever they want on any forum whatsoever.
Now today, this group of computer hackers are apparently threatening cyber war over this WikiLeaks case. What do you know about that?
Yeah, NBC is reporting that Anonymous, it's a group we've heard of before, is threatening new attacks not only on U.S. corporations, but also on some of the government officials.
Number one story, MasterCard announced Monday it would no longer process payments to WikiLeaks. This morning, internet activists crashed its website. This afternoon, Visa.com crashed. Tonight, Twitter might be next. It suspended an Operation Payback account. A group calling itself Anonymous has been waging Operation Payback for a few months now. The group says it is dedicated to a, quote, anonymous, decentralized movement that fights against censorship and copy wrong.
Well, officials have confirmed that at least 41 Malaysian government websites had been hacked overnight. This follows a threat by hacker group Anonymous to punish the authorities for internet censorship. Officials say that 51 websites were hit and at least 41 of them were disrupted in these attacks.
Targets like HB Gary, a major cybersecurity firm some U.S. government agencies rely on to keep their computers safe. Last month, HB Gary boasted it would expose Anonymous. The response was swift. Anonymous took down their website, stole thousands of emails, and posted them on the internet. The CEO resigned. Anonymous is credited with bringing down government websites in Tunisia, Egypt, and Libya. And now it's made new threats against companies and government officials complicit in what it views as the mistreatment of Bradley Manning, the Army private accused of leaking to WikiLeaks.
Anonymous is powerful enough that it's certainly struck fear into the hearts of some of the biggest technology companies, the biggest companies in the whole world.
Our own Justice Department doesn't take any action against these guys. It's been 3 years since the debacle in Wall Street that caused our economic collapse. And where's Washington? Where's Washington? They haven't done a damn thing. But look, what you're looking at here, in combination of all these things, is a new model on how to fight back. You have to take action into your hands. Direct, peaceful resistance.
We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed.
Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. You could be in a lot of trouble. Now, people have figured out that you can hit the powerful where it counts in their pocketbooks. The same thing happened in Egypt, where Mubarak only stepped down after the labor strikes began. And then there's the national and international movement against the power establishment. The group Anonymous recently released this video warning the global banking systems.
We are a decentralized, non-violent, resistance movement which seeks to restore the rule of law and fight back against the organized criminal class.
Now that's a little spooky, but I liked it. And apparently they came armed with documents, which we're going to tell you about in a second. But look, what I like is peaceful resistance.
However, they can't just randomly launch an attack. And in order to do it, you have to go on this IRC chat. Anyone can suggest a target. And that person then has to make a compelling case for the target, and then whoever happens to be, it's a quorum of whoever happens to be awake, can vote up or down on this target. So if somebody has not made a compelling enough case, enough people may pull their computers off of this voluntary botnet that the attack might not be nearly as effective. So it is, in fact, an amazing kind of Athenian democracy. If you forget sort of the ethics of what they're doing, place that to one side, what they've achieved is sort of this set of checks and balances that agrees in a very fluid way on what the target is.
This is the new model of fighting back against the establishment and against corporate power. Don't wait for your knight in shining armor to show up from DC. The bad news is he ain't coming. The good news is it turns out you're the knight in shining armor.
I believe that Gandhi's views were the most enlightened of all the political men in our time. We should strive to do things in his spirit, not to use violence in fighting for our cause, but by non-participation in anything you believe is evil.
What's next? What's next is all they can do is shut down the internet itself. And we see how that went for them in Egypt. And we, the people, know that when the government shuts down the internet, that's when it's time to shut down the government. We are Anonymous. We are Legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us. And now, you can expect a whole lot more.
Hello, free people of the world. This is Anonymous. It's time to stand up and face the New World Order. Your country calls for you to follow orders and to stand in place like a slave drone. We call for you to say no. We call for you to say you are anonymous. You have the right to stay anonymous, and so shall you do so. Go to protest and stand up for what you believe in. Stand up for what is right. Stand up and say you are anonymous. We are anonymous. We are Legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.
Good evening. We begin tonight with a rare look inside Anonymous.
They're this shadowy and motley group of hackers and activists who answer to no one, drawn together by love of internet mischief.
Well, now they're evolving into this movement of social change, a real driving force behind the Wall Street occupiers. No surprise, they're hated by corporate security, but also hunted by the FBI.
And one of the questions we're asking is, who are these people and why are they taking to the streets? To get some answers, Amber Lyons stepped into the shadows.
Back up. It's a dark and disturbing vision. A world where riot police attack with impunity.
What happened? He got shot. Get back.
Where democracy is corrupted by greed and dissent is crushed. That's how Anonymous sees America. And they say that's why they're fighting back.
We are Legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget.
It's a movement that defies description. Leaderless,
tell me what democracy looks like.
Faceless, anarchic.
This is our space.
A loose collective born on the internet, Anonymous has no official members and no hierarchy. But within the group, some individual Anons have greater standing, earned by their skills as hackers, video makers,
to see it with my own eyes and record it myself,
and increasingly street-level activists.
Tell me what police state looks like.
Troy, not his real name, is one of them.
This is what happens when the people have had enough. This is what happens when greed goes unchecked.
Troy says he was drawn to Occupy Wall Street after watching his mother struggle with medical debts. He himself is working 2 jobs to make ends meet, despite having a college degree.
You kind of just lose track of days, lose track of time, but it's worth it. It's all worth it.
We met him at the Occupy Wall Street camp at Zuccotti Park.
There's no specific person that talks for us. It's more like a hive, you know, an idea is brought up and whoever agrees with it, if the overwhelming majority of people that agree with it, then we go with it.
So we're following Troy, and he's been out here policing, kind of making sure that all of these protesters are getting along with the community and not causing any problems.
We're handling internal affairs as far as damage control within the community, making sure that everybody's respecting the local small businesses around here. How's it going?
But he's not just watching over the protests. He's also watching the police. Part of the evolution of Anonymous from hackers to activists. Anonymous was born a decade ago in one of the weirdest and darkest corners of the internet, an anything-goes image board called 4chan. 4chan users post anonymously, and the name stuck.
We do not forgive.
The group adopted a distinct identity and its own symbolism. A mask taken from the movie V for Vendetta, a retelling of the story of the English rebel Guy Fawkes and his plot to blow up the House of Lords in 1605. Instead of gunpowder, Anonymous uses the internet. Anonymous attacks its targets by flooding and crashing corporate and government websites, or digging up and publicizing highly embarrassing information. It's called trolling. They troll targets out of genuine outrage, but also just for fun.
LULZ, it's a kind of pluralization and bastardization of laugh out loud.
New York University professor Gabriella Coleman has been watching Anonymous for years.
It's a term that kind of denotes this sort of pleasure, humor, laughter, everything from something which is quite playful, harmless, to engaging in a kind of full-fledged trolling attack that humiliates.
Anonymous's campaigns, known as operations or ops, can be dramatic. In late 2010, a distributed denial of service attack took down the website of PayPal after the company cut off support for the online whistleblower site WikiLeaks.
PayPal continues to withhold funds from WikiLeaks, the beacon of truth in these dark times.
16 Anons were arrested by the FBI, charged with conspiring to intentionally damage PayPal's computers.
This is a message from Anonymous to the Bay Area Rapid Transit System, BART.
This summer, Anonymous attacked the San Francisco area's public transportation system, BART. BART had cut cell service within the transit system as a way of disrupting anti-police brutality protests. Anonymous's reaction was devastating and vicious.
We will not issue any more warnings.
Op BART included the release of a naked photo of a senior BART employee.
Sometimes it kind of makes you laugh, sometimes it makes you cringe, sometimes it makes you laugh and cringe at the same time. All of a sudden, you're like, oh my gosh, there is this, dagger that's being thrown.
And a naked photo.
Yeah, a naked photo.
Do you feel like there is a fear out there of what they could possibly find or leak about a certain individual?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what makes them who they are, is that they are kind of bad boys and rude boys to some degree. There is a dual sort of fascination and horror that goes on at the same time.
Be aware. Be vigilant.
Anonymous was evolving, using its power to shock and disrupt to effect social change. During the Arab Spring, the collective emerged as a full-fledged activist group, taking up the cause of Tunisians fighting against a repressive regime, literally saving lives.
The Tunisian government has made itself an enemy of Anonymous.
They did everything from take down government websites. They wrote scripts to stop the phishing of passwords. They brought massive media attention to Tunisia.
And last fall, Anonymous broke cover here at home, stepping out from behind their secure computer screens for a new cause, Occupy Wall Street.
There is a revolution brewing.
Suddenly, the symbols of Anonymous were everywhere, in flags, masks, banners.
We are the 99%!
When we return, pepper spray and Anonymous strikes back.
How are they getting personal information of these officers?
I'd rather not say.
The shadowy internet group known as Anonymous has grown now far beyond its hacker roots. It's now emerging as a forceful public relations weapon for the Occupy protest movement. Amber Lyon takes you inside Anonymous.
We are Anonymous.
Anonymous likens itself to the Air Force of the Occupy movement.
Everyone, everywhere will be occupying their towns, their capitals, and other public spaces.
Anonymous has an array of people on the streets. We're talking medics in San Francisco, tech support in Washington, D.C. And here in New York, guys like Troy. Troy, not his real name, is part of an army of citizen journalists documenting the movement and the police by broadcasting live video over streaming sites. When they see evidence of what they believe is police misbehavior, Anonymous strikes back, releasing personal information about specific officers.
And hopefully he'll think twice before he pulls out his baton against somebody who's holding a sign saying we just want peace.
And how are they getting cell phone numbers and personal information of these officers or bankers?
I'd rather not say.
In September, an NYPD officer named Anthony Bologna was filmed pepper spraying 2 protesters. Anonymous took direct action.
We will unleash hell on your phones, your servers, and anything else we can find.
One of the most active subgroups within Anonymous is called the Cabin Crew. Their specialty is doxing. It's shorthand for combing the internet for all the information you can find about a target and then releasing it publicly.
Cabin Crew
have noticed the injustices being committed by the New York police.
Cabin crew compiled Bologna's name, his home address, past legal actions, even the names of his family members, and put it all online. After a police investigation and public pressure, Bologna was placed on leave and reassigned to Staten Island.
What do you think that did to the NYPD when they saw this officer's information get posted online?
I think that they would see it as a form of vigilantism. They're pushing the boundaries of the law. But I think some of their actions also reveal the ways in which either private security companies or police are also acting outside of the boundaries of the law.
Anonymous's biggest coup in the propaganda wars was this. An Anon group by the name Operation Leaks posts the clip on YouTube. The next day, the clip tops 100,000 views. 3 days later, 1.5 million. The casually spraying cop had it all. It was outrageous, ridiculous, lulzy, and effective.
Police in riot gear sprayed students, pepper spraying student protesters.
The incident was picked up by the mainstream media and replayed over and over again.
Nice shopping.
Anonymous wants to frame the narrative of the Occupy movement as a contest between peaceful protesters and a militarized police state. Oh my gosh. Reality, though, isn't quite so clear-cut. At Occupy Oakland, some protesters attacked the police with rocks and bottles. Others erupted in a fury after the city tore down their encampment.
They're getting a little heated. Some people are trying to tear down this fence and head into the main area, but others are trying to keep them quiet and calm so that the police don't have to get re-involved.
I need some help. We need some more help over here. You're f***ing willing to fight us, but not the police? They tried this fence, and you're doing their job.
The Anonymous PR machine focused solely on instances where the cops got out of line. And they have plenty of ammunition.
What happened? What happened? You got shot.
During one night of chaos, police apparently fired a projectile directly at a former Marine named Scott Olson, who was peacefully protesting against the crackdown. Anonymous went into overdrive.
I hereby declare this to be an unlawful assembly.
Scanning the video for police badge numbers and names, offering a reward for anyone who could identify the officer responsible. The case is still under investigation. The Department of Homeland Security has put out several alerts to law enforcement and corporate security focused mainly on the group's hacking activities. And the FBI has made more than a dozen arrests.
We're living in a police state.
But there's no indication that has cramped Anonymous's style. Their latest op?
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all on planet Earth.
On Christmas Day, members crashed the website of a security research company, hacking its client list along with their credit card numbers in order to steal $1 million for donations to charity.
We are Anonymous. Expect us.
And our correspondent Amber Lyon now joins us here in studio. A little frightening,
yeah,
a little scary.
Slightly, especially for law enforcement in many aspects.
You know, I got to ask, so what if they get it wrong? What if they put up some personal information that is inaccurate? Do they have any accountability?
There's very little accountability. Because of the way Anonymous is organized, anyone can claim to be anonymous. There's also a lot of extreme outliers. And you know, law enforcement is intimidated by Anonymous. We tried to get an interview with anyone federally or locally, and they refused to send an officer forward kind of to the chopping block because they feared that if this officer appeared on camera, they could become a target of Anonymous.
This is an anonymous message from the global revolution to politicians, dictators and plutocrats all over the planet. Surprised by the global disobedience? Let us explain to you your delicate situation. Tens of thousands of years ago, human beings began to evolve. Since then, our species has walked a dark and bloody road, which isolated people condemned to live in fear caused by ignorance. Knowledge, ethics and technological development have always been conditioned by the elite in their wars, which is in the Orwellian metaphor, have done nothing more than perpetuate vertical and obscurantist social schemes. We have arrived to the 21st century of our era, after 2 world wars, endorsing the possibility of nuclear conflict with assured mutual destruction. Their so-called economists and intellectuals, having announced that it was the end of the story, it seemed, more than ever, that looking for a fairer order was meaningless. Thinking that they had slowed our rational development enough, they let us carry on with a progress model whose sole objective was never more than to make them even richer and more powerful. However, they did not consider that the real human spirit refuses to bow, always. While they believed they were overcoming us by using economic shocks, our species has evolved in a new manner. Using only the powers of culture and freedom, we have reused those technological resources that were born of our genius and that were only provided to us with consumerist intentions. So we have updated, improved and immunized our force operations and effectiveness. We absorb their own tactics, techniques and power of persuasion to form our own means, dreams and challenges. Today, the revolution is spreading around the planet as a challenge to their oppression, and they shamelessly try to shut down our freedom of expression. Finally, information has reached critical mass, exploding in a melting pot of voices whose new wishes and needs can't be covered by their old paradigm. Now, physically and digitally interconnected, we form a huge collective consciousness. Maybe their corporate media silences what is happening, but they cannot fool us anymore. They can temporarily stop some points, but the process will continue unstoppable and ever-changing. Now it doesn't matter which measures they take for trying to counteract us. The more violence, censorship and obstacles they put in our way, the more they expose their weakness. From every place on the earth, with different ideas and from different conditions, women and men have always existed and always will exist to oppose the pretense of undemocratic and unjust governments. After millenniums of suffering, our species has stood up, and nothing will ever be the same. Their totalitarian game is ending. But friends, the story hasn't ended. This is where it begins. We will take the streets and occupy. Change is happening. The people should never fear the government. The government should fear the people. We are the people. We are the only system. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us. Join us.
The #1 most influential person of 2012, according to RT America, is the hacktivist group Anonymous.
And hacktivist group Anonymous didn't waste any time in firing back.
With Op Mega Upload, shutting down the websites of the Department of Justice, the FBI, the Motion Picture Association of America, Universal Pictures, among many others.
And then, take us a month later and, 10,000 people were just in the streets. And in every major country in the world, in every major city in the world.
Also Syria, where they tried to keep the internet online for many, even though it was virtually shut down for a couple of days.
Help the ones that are dying, and it will further the collective as a whole, and we can help bring a peace within the Gaza region to those people that so desperately need it.
Israel's finance minister acknowledging that it was facing cyber attacks on an unprecedented scale, with over 44 million attempts to attack and disrupt government websites.
Aside from going after websites, Anonymous also released the personal information of 5,000 Israeli officials, and they even leaked the information of 3,000 pro-Israeli donors.
Yeah.